was a quiet morning when Leah decided to take a solo trip. With her adventurous spirit, she got into her car and hit the road, admiring the landscapes of the United States. But something felt off. She was happy, yet a strange uneasiness lingered in the air, as if something dark was hovering just out of sight. When Leah's phone suddenly went silent, concern began to grow. She had disappeared without a trace. A few days later, her car was found at the bottom of a secluded ravine, wrecked, abandoned, and with no sign of life. The mystery was taking shape, and a sense of terror started creeping into the minds of those trying to understand what had happened. The vehicle was in a deplorable state, yet there were no clear signs of an accident. There were no skid marks on the road, and the impact didn't seem strong enough to explain the crash. That was when the police began to question the evidence, and a chilling realization set in. What had really happened to Leah? What had sent her car tumbling down that ravine, especially when she was nowhere to be found? Every clue seemed to deepen the mystery, as if an invisible force was manipulating the events. And with Leah's disappearance, the doubt intensified. Was she still out there somewhere, or was this just the beginning of something far more sinister? Soon the experts started speculating. And buried within the investigation, the first truly unsettling questions emerged. Could the car have been tampered with before the crash? The possibility that someone had sabotaged Leah's brakes became a disturbing theory. This wasn't just an accident, it was something much worse. It was as if someone had been watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And this someone may have left a carefully crafted trail of clues, not just to mislead authorities, but to instill fear in anyone trying to uncover the truth. Like a masterful game of deception, the case became more tangled, with no definitive answers in sight. As the investigation progressed, a chilling discovery was made. Leah's brakes had indeed been tampered with. This wasn't an accident, it was a calculated attack. With every new revelation, the mystery deepened and fear spread like wildfire. How had someone managed to interfere with such a crucial system without being detected? Authorities were baffled, and suddenly, the case took an even more disturbing turn. The idea of a kidnapping, or something even more terrifying, began to take hold. Did someone want Leah gone? Or worse, was she being held captive somewhere? The possibility of an abduction now loomed over everyone, turning what had seemed like an ordinary road trip into a chilling nightmare. With sabotaged brakes, every move Leah made in that car had led her straight to disaster. Had she ever stood a chance? What sinister force had orchestrated this? Authorities began to question whether Leah had been kidnapped, possibly forced to stage her own death. Could she have been the victim of a monstrous plan, one that dragged her into a nightmare beyond her worst fears? The terror of being watched, followed, and manipulated into a deadly trap became a horrifying possibility. With each passing moment, the case grew darker, more inexplicable, as if someone, or something, was enjoying the growing fear. Despite their best efforts, investigators found more questions than answers. Was Leah still out there somewhere, trapped in an inescapable situation? Or had she become the victim of a cruel fate, her life manipulated by unseen hands? Suspicion filled the air, and no one knew who to trust. Fear now gripped not only the investigators but everyone involved in the case. The deeper they dug, the more it felt like an ominous shadow, threatening anyone who got too close to the truth. As time passed, theories began to emerge. Some authorities speculated that Leah had staged her own disappearance. A terrifying possibility, but one that gained traction as the case dragged on. Some clues, or rather the lack of them, seemed to suggest something even more complex. Could it be that Leah, overwhelmed by fear, had orchestrated the entire thing? Or was someone close to her involved? The idea that she had either planned her escape or been manipulated by someone in her life added another layer of horror. The line between victim and mastermind blurred, confusing those desperate for answers. Investigators spent countless nights reviewing surveillance footage, analyzing any trace that might lead to Leah or someone connected to her. But every clue seemed to be just another piece of an unsolvable puzzle. And the more they investigated, the more her disappearance felt deliberate. There were no signs of struggle or resistance. On the contrary, everything seemed meticulously arranged, like the final act of a psychological thriller, something that may have been staged all along. Yet the fear continued to grow, because no one knew whether it was all an elaborate lie or a deeper, more sinister game of manipulation. And still, as all these theories circulated, Leah's true fate remained a mystery. The idea that she could still be alive, hidden, or worse, forced into hiding, haunted everyone. The fear that something even more terrifying was yet to unfold dominated every thought. But at the same time, the possibility that the case was far simpler than anyone believed, that this disappearance was nothing more than a cleverly constructed illusion, kept the terror alive. The case remained unsolved, and with it, the fear of never finding an answer had never felt so real. Leah's mystery was never solved. Though years have passed since her car was found at the bottom of the ravine, authorities never uncovered a definitive explanation for her disappearance. Every theory, every clue, only seemed to add another shadow of uncertainty. Leah? She was never found. Some say she fell victim to something much larger than simple manipulation, a conspiracy that would never be brought to light. Others believe she was, in fact, a victim of herself, caught in a situation of her own making. What terrifies investigators and curious minds alike is the simple fact that her body was never found. How can someone disappear so completely? The truth seems to be lurking somewhere, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. And what do you think? Was Leah truly running from something, or was she never who we thought she was? Somewhere in the dark corners of the mind, the answer remains hidden. And the fear that we may never know is what haunts us the most. If this story sent chills down your spine, leaving you with more questions than answers, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Stay with us, because the terror is only just beginning. How many more dark secrets do you think the world is hiding?